In this video, let's talk about the elephant in the room, how the low end building up in your sessions is killing your ability to mix and what you can do to deal with it. Hi, my name is Joey Sturgis and welcome to the Joey Sturgis Tones YouTube channel. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button, and to all my subscribers, welcome back. Don't forget to like this video and ring the bell to get notified when we upload new videos. So let's get right into it. A powerful low end in your song is a must for modern mixes. Electronic musicians and producers can't get enough of it. It's what makes their listeners feel their music. Heavy metal and rock aren't new to it either. For years, we've been working extended range guitars and basses into our music, seeking out the heaviest tones possible. There is such a thing as too much though, and it's a mixer's responsibility to draw that line or risk having the bass steamroll everything else in the mix. As the demand grows for more bass in songs, we need to begin working smarter to make that happen. More bass doesn't always mean more low end. Sometimes the artist is looking for more presence in the low end, or more attack on the bass notes. They want to hear more bass, but you don't need to sacrifice quality to make that happen. For most instruments, there's not a whole lot of value to keeping the frequency content in the super low end of the frequency spectrum. Very few systems will play back music all the way down to the bottom of the human hearing range, and unless you've got a subwoofer, you can mostly get rid of that content. Your low end under 100 Hz is a domain shared by kick drums, bass, and occasionally bass synths. While a rogue floor tom or extended range guitar may dip down there from time to time, you need to accommodate your low end instrumentation by getting everything else out of their space. So how do we do that? Well, with filters of course. A high pass filter will allow you to set how low each track you're working with is allowed to go. Standard high pass filters will have a gradual slope, fading out to the low end, much like a volume fade on a track. And if you set it to 100 Hz, it's not going to place a hard wall there unless you set it up that way. This gradual slope helps keep your instrumentation sounding natural while freeing up all kinds of space for your bass instrumentation. After you've given your bass instruments room to breathe, the remaining steps become a bit easier to manage. Instead of fighting everything in the mix to make good decisions, you've narrowed the playing field down to a handful of relevant elements. If you don't do anything at this point, your bass is going to compound, stacking one on top of each other until you're left with a garbled, unidentifiable mess. If you've ever heard someone down on the street blasting music in his or her car with an obnoxiously oversized subwoofer in the trunk, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Their bass is being crammed into a compact space, making it impossible to hear instruments with any discernible difference from one another. Bass needs room to grow and expand. Starting with your kick drum, you need to make space for instruments in your bass mix. By finding the fundamental frequency of your kick drum, you can make a narrow notch around that space on your bass and any synths with an EQ of your choice. Even a small cut will allow the kick to stick out above all the others. Another common fix for kick drums is the use of side chaining, where a copy of the kick signal is sent as a trigger for the compressor or limiter that's being applied to other bass instruments. Some producers take this to the extremes of using sidechain to create a pumping or pulsating effect. But subtle sidechaining can be achieved by lowering the compression amount being applied. If you're looking to experiment with sidechaining, our finality limiter has a built-in sidechain function and several tools like Look Ahead, making it a great limiter to learn on. What's left after making room for the bass is the hardest part to separate, but maybe you don't need to separate them at all. The most common synth basses are used to reinforce a live bass performance or replace it completely. Regardless of what your bass instruments are doing in the mix, fixing them is not as simple as just making a notch for each. Their notes are constantly changing. Instead, you can glue these performances together on a separate bass bus, where a compressor like BG Bass can tighten them up and blur the line between live and programmed. While this approach controls the compounding low-end problem when both instruments share a particular frequency, it can also work to smooth out the higher-end content of these instruments, such as the upper mids of a live bass guitar. Your bass problems don't just stop when the mix is right. You need to make sure that your mix environment is properly equipped to accurately represent that low end. Too often, engineers add a subwoofer without thinking if they need it. In a smaller room, you really don't. Other rooms might have serious bass buildup in the corners or phase cancellation nodes throughout the room, making it difficult to get a true picture of the bass. Whether you choose to address this with room treatment or by understanding it and changing your mix approach accordingly, that's up to you. Simply knowing what's going on with your room is already a step in the right direction. If you know you've got bass filling up your room, what are you doing to fix your mixes? If you've gone through this struggle already and come out on the other side, what advice would you give to someone experiencing too much bass for the first time? Come share your experience with us in the Joey Sturgis Tones forum and see what your peers are doing to fight compounding low end. JST VIP members get access to exclusive courses just like this, as well as tutorials and plugins, but they also get direct access to mix crits from myself. If you're struggling with a mix, send it my way, and I'll give you feedback. I'm going to tell you exactly what's working and what's not to help keep your mixes moving in the right direction. You can sign up for this program today, the link is in the description below, or just go to joeysturgistones.vip/join and we'll see you there. That's it for today, see you guys in the next video. Thanks so much for watching. If you like this video, please subscribe and give it a thumbs up. If you got another audio buddy who would love this content, please share it. Hit the bell to get notified when we upload new videos, and don't forget to check the link in the description below before you go. You're the best. We'll see you soon.